Hello, English teachers. Check out this lesson. It's called All About Italy. So this is a English or ESL speaking unit for kids, and you're teaching the kids English and through a real world topic. In this case, it's world culture, and the country is Italy. So this type of style is called CLIL, which stands for Content Language Integrated Learning. And the way my lesson is designed is, well, this lesson has over 40 something pages of slides of content, and it comes with beautiful graphics and also question prompts. And after the lesson, the student gets practice questions to do, and I include answer keys for you, the teacher, to use when you grade the practice questions. And I always kick off the lesson with a couple of warm-up slides. So this is a great way for you and a student to break the ice. And if you notice here at the bottom left-hand corner is a yellow box. This is where I put all my question prompts. So I designed these to save you, the teacher, the time from having to come up with your own questions to ask the students. All you have to do is follow these questions, and then you can just, have a great conversation with them. But of course, if you do have your own questions that you can come up with, by all means, throw them in. So, for example, here, the first question, right? Do you like traveling? And where do you want to go for a trip? So just very, very good, icebreaker. And then after that, there's another warm-up slide, right? Well, actually, it's not a warm-up slide, but it's more like an introduction to where Italy is. So, here, right, get the student to read these simple sentences. Every one of my slide has like, two or three sentences at most, so that it's easy on the eyes, and it's better for online teaching. And when the students read, pay attention to their pronunciation and their intonation, and ask some questions to see if they actually understand what they're reading. And here you can follow the question prompt, right? Share your experience. I always tell them, oh, this is where I live. I live in Canada, and this is part of North America. And so ask your student, like, what continent is your country on, right? And get them to, circle it for you, or, point it out to you. After that is a map of Italy, and here, right? So here's a question. Here is the sentence, that Italy looks like a boot, right? And the boot kicks right into the sea. And ask the question, right? Like, what does Italy look like on the map? Some of these questions, they're meant to check the student's understanding of what they read. So when you ask these questions, they are actually the answers found from the sentences, right? And you can ask them, like, is it easy or is it hard to spot Italy on the map, and why, right? And get them to give you the answers. So the answers can be found here, right? They might have problem expressing it in a complete or full sentence. So this is where you can help them, right, to speak. Okay. And after that, I talk about Italian food like pizza, and ask them, like, do you like pizza? And ask them, what are some of the popular foods in your country? And then next, I talk about pasta, right? In my actual lesson, I have a slide that asks them to put their favorite toppings on the pizza. Like, what kind of toppings do you want, right? Do you want olives? Do you want tomatoes? Pepperoni, cheese, pineapples, whatever. And so I didn't include it here in the demo, but it's part of my lesson. Here, same thing, right? When we talk about pasta, I have another slide that asks them, like, what do you want to put in your pasta? Like, do you want seafood? Do you want some tomatoes, cheese, peppers, sausages? All those options are there on the slide. So it's fun and it's engaging. And then I talk about gelato, right? Ask them, like, what is your favorite gelato? What flavor do you like? Okay, and I tell them I like ice cream and I like chocolate gelato. What about you? And then after that, I talk about the famous attractions and the famous landmarks. And here on the demo slide, I show the Leaning Tower of Pisa, that is very tall and it's not straight, right? And ask them, like, why is this tower so famous? Right? Well, here it's famous because it's not straight. And ask them, like, have you ever traveled to Italy? If not, would you like to go see this place one day? After that, there's another one, the Colosseum, right? And long ago, the Colosseum was for big shows and games. So ask them, like, here's the question: what is it made for, right? The answer is right here. Okay, and ask them like pick their brains, right? Like how many people do you think can fit inside? So in the actual lesson, I also talk about the Roman gladiators, right? That they used to fight, right, inside the Colosseum, and that's in the lesson. Here I didn't show it. Okay, and then I talk about famous cities, right? For example, Venice, right? It's a famous city in Italy, right? And people travel by boat. It's got many canals instead of roads. Okay, and ask them like, well, again, right? How do people travel? Here's the answer, right? Or look at the picture. How do they travel? Right, by boats. And then I talk about their architecture, how a lot of the Italian buildings, they're dome shaped like that, right? And you can ask them about the type of architectures in their own country, right? What's it like? Do you have dome-shaped buildings, or do you have like flat rooftops, or what do they look like? And I talk about mosaic, right? How Italians, they like to use a mosaic as part of their art their design, architectural design, and then ask them like, do you like mosaic designs? Do you prefer tiles, or do you prefer glass mosaic? Okay. I also have included a couple of idioms. For example, here, right? Rome was not built in a day because it's related to Rome. I mean, the idiom's related to Rome, and ask them to, explain like, what do you think this means, right? And I give you, and here it gives you the answer, right? Good things take time. You need to be patient, and you need to practice. And another idiom that I have included, or actually it's not here, is all roads lead to Rome, right? And I have that picture inside the actual lesson. At the end here, this is a summary. What have you learned? Get the student to give a summary, and it means more chance for them to express themselves, more chance for them to talk. Okay. And then afterwards, like I mentioned before, some practice questions. I got a few of them, and I think one of them is is a true or false slide. Okay, so if they find something that is false, they need to give an explanation and give the correct answer. And then after that, I have the answer keys. So you can grade the work, right, based on my answer keys. So yeah, come over to my store. I'm the Speak Up English Talk Resources, and I'm over at the teacherspayteachers.com, and I have lessons, individual lessons, and I also sell them in packages. All right, then, that's it. Thanks. Bye.